This is just AMZN for Friday, March 6th, 2020. Taking a look at the 5-minute here. Pre-market on Friday, we had a bit of a consolidation through here between these ranges. Broke out, retested, and then did our S-curve. That was a horrible S-curve. There you go, like that. No, that was still bad. Okay, you got it. Went up, went down, went back up. We came right into yesterday's low, Thursday's low, and rolled over. Rolled over with kind of like a double top sort of thing, had a retest. This zone was acting as a pivot again. It's actually where we really closed right up into. The first place I want to look at some options is right at the end of the day, because all day long on Friday, weekly options are the ones that are out of the money are trying to lose all their value. And so when you get close to the end of the day like this, they're almost to zero, which makes them really cheap, especially right before a big move. So right in here, we had an open price, or I guess the open was here. We had an open really close through here. We had some lows down the same area. This just chopped around, and it allowed just some consolidation right here that looked like it was going to retest this pivot and roll back down, and started to, but then didn't continue and just roared higher very quickly. So I was in bearish on a move here. I got stopped out with slippage, immediately flipped when I saw it was this strong and going up like this, and got into the 1900 calls for, I got two of them for 50 cents or $50, and just set a target at 250. And I should have held on because I watched it after I was out for 4R, when it got out at 250, which unfortunately didn't give me some positive slippage, but it's all right at 250. It continued in that same 5-minute candle to go all the way up past 4. And then in the last 5-minute, which is a time that I am still working on getting better at on expiration. I'll do it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But Fridays, this is something I'm not as nimble to do. But I could have more than doubled, tripled what I made had I just held on longer, another few minutes. And that's literally what it is. It's a few minutes. But in a few minutes, it could totally move against you too. I've had that happen probably more times. Anyway, getting in at 50 and getting out at 250 was a nice 4R gain. I did watch it print some prices way up here. You would not have been filled at 10 on a call, or on a buy. On a sell. What am I trying to say? So getting in at 50 and out at 10 would not have worked, but probably getting in at 50 and out at 5 would have worked, and that would have been like a 10x kind of trade where I've made 10 times the money. Now it went up by 10 times, but I didn't make 10 times. I made 5 minus 50, 5 minus 0.5, so 4.5 R, that kind of thing. I don't know, I did that wrong. Times how many? So that would have been 9R. That would have been 9R. Man, up at 5. 550 would have been 10R. Okay. Yeah. So in this case, the R's and the X's are similar. Anyway, don't want to get hung up on that. That's, ended up being positive in the day with Amazon, which was great. And after going, after a losing trade, getting it back was really nice. Quickly getting it back. Like I said, this zone actually has a really nice pivot. And had I just kind of taken a step back and set the target up here, actually, let's see, I was out on this candle. So I was out on that candle. Yeah, okay. So I just could have had a target that was a little bit higher from where I was. I just didn't want to have it go up a little bit and then, fake out and lose that. I wanted to get something back. So no, I guess I'm looking at the candle now. I'm good with where this traded. So, all right. Anyway, looking at where we went, most of the day was downward. Actually, one more place to look bullish. You had some hammer type candles here right around 1880. On the calls here, you had some tweezer bottoms, so put in some lows at 420 on both of these, and then give you an opportunity to buy on the next candle after that, retested into that zone, but you would have needed more than $100 risk. It put in a 520 low, and these were at 420. So technically, that's a dollar above $100 above the low. But it's unlikely that that's something. I mean, you would have been more comfortable trading that with a bigger R, like 200 would have been fine. So like 6x4, but doing 100, I mean, would have been tight. So probably early on, looking at a different strike a little further away would have brought that R down a little bit. So take a look at maybe 1910, 1920, 1925 would be a nice round number. I just don't know how well that moved when it was going directionally here. I did like this candle. Let me zoom in here a bit. So we know our high was the low of Thursday. I liked this hammer type bounce, and then I like the high wave candle that continued on up. And it held above this candle up until it put in this bearish candle. And then it's like, okay, it's going lower from here. Well, it actually just pushed down slightly to 1880.05, and it bounced back up to this pivot zone around 1895 to 1900, and then from there rolled back down. And so there are opportunities to buy puts all along here, not necessarily calling the top. So we'll see on the 1900 puts, around $10 here would have been where that low was made. Retested here around 1232, and then retested here around 1260. So looking at this, yes, you could have got in 10 by 9, which is one of the numbers or one of the setups I like to look for. Then you wouldn't have gotten as good a pricing here, but still you would have been looking for this to roll over in this range because it already pushed down below, and then it came right back to this range again here. So again, just prices to be looking for once it puts in this value and we're staying below that. It's like, okay, where could we really get in and go bearish on that by buying puts? So 1900 still would have been a little bit difficult to get your $100 risk. If we went a little further away, like the 1880 is a nice pivot. So let's see how the 1880 looks. Okay, there's decent volume here. Sorry, let me get rid of this. I like that it put in very similar lows all the way through. So it put in, I want Thursday to go away. There we go. Okay. Put in low here between like 5 and 6. Almost got there again, and then did come back into 6. I'm sorry, I'm saying backwards. 6x5. 6x5 didn't get to 6x5. Sort of got there. I don't know. You would have been filled, but then definitely would have been filled here. So put a really nice base in this like $6 range, which is always a nice thing to be looking for it to hold when it's going in the direction that you want to go. So it's going, maybe that wasn't your direction here, but then when you saw a lower high, it's like, okay, well, let me look to get in, at a similar price if we can get back up here, and sure enough, it comes back into 6x5. Actually, the low is 520, so that would actually have been a little bit, that's scary, but you almost would have been stopped out, which would have been frustrating. But to then go see it move on up. So 6x5 made it all the way up, looks like to 16, so that would have been 10R had you bought the low and sold the high, which never happens. So let's just say instead of 6x5, you got in over here 7x6, and then you get out at the high here of about 12. So 7 up to 12, that's 5R. It still works. I like that. And that would have been trading these candles down through here, I think. Where did it hit 12? Got into it here. That was at 115. So probably going from like 7 to 10 or 11 into this range. Just getting into this level and not looking for that much more. And then you did get a nice rollover here. What time was this? This at 1:30. 1:30 with this candle. Yeah, it just kept on going. But then it very quickly, again, the out of the money options are always trying to go to zero on expiration Friday. And so seeing it go from in the teens I mean, really, it was at 14 within the last hour of the day here, and then went to zero. I mean, that was the kind of move that it had. So anybody who had bought up here, even if you had to stop, you're looking for it to continue, just scalp a little bit. I mean, you lost. It moved to zero so quickly. That's one of my favorite reasons for, picking Amazon, for trading Amazon, for looking for this kind of setup, because they happen regularly. And, to be able to get a 4-hour bullish move out of this, granted I had gone bearish and lost the known, but to get it back and then some with a 4-hour move, directional move into the close, or at least in that last hour, it was really in the last 20 minutes. But it's something I'm proud of. Definitely proud of to have captured one of those. You get 52 times a year. You can trade them on expiration Friday, and this was one of them, which was great. So always something I'm looking for. I got a really nice, strong bullish candle, similar to this candle where we bounced off of previous pivot. This was where we bounced off of where we had really been held under right before earnings. Now, just knowing what's going on, I'm doing this video late Sunday into early Monday Central Time. And so knowing what's going on in the futures, that the market is limit down, and that means a lot of things are going to be selling off, and Amazon included. It will likely open below this low. It may open below this low at 1815, or the pivot 1815. The low was 1811.13. If it opens down here Monday morning, look for a quick sell down to this uptrend line into the high 1700s, some sort of retracement, some buying to come in, at least to get it off of this low, and then look for 1815, 1841.30, even 1863.84. Somehow, if we were to get back up to 1880.05, look for any of these levels to be pivots for it to roll back down, and look for some continuation lower, just because there's that much fear. I'm still optimistic that we're going to go back up, but I don't know how much lower we're going to go. I've compared this multiple times, going back to, let's see, this zone where we had this consolidation. So let me see if I can get both of these. Okay, so we had, there's other videos I've done this on, but basically let me just draw it here. So we had this consolidation from right in here to right in here, which was months: August, September, October, November, December. So 5 months. We had a similar consolidation from here to here, which was 2 months. And this felt like a really long time. We were completely range bound, everything. Okay. But what happened here is we had a really nice breakout, rolled back down. This is a bigger S curve because we went deeper, and we actually came right back into these lows, even though we had broken out or gotten back up to the high zone. So this is a little different, where we were really range bound here. We broke out, we retested, we broke out again with earnings, retested, looked like we put in that low. Would not be surprised if we traded down like this one did. If we traded down into these lows, which would be into the low 1700s, or even a little bit lower into the 1600s. It would be phenomenal if we got down to the low 1600s into this same area here, to have some sort of a bounce here. And just depending on how much fear there is right now in the market, it's entirely possible that we do that at some point. I don't know that we'll get down there this week. But if we do something, let me see if I can move the chart forward. There we go. Expand this a bit. Okay. Now, I'm not so good at drawing to the future here, but if we get some sort of gap down like this, look for a quick move down, a retracement back up. Somehow, if we get that high, look for it to go down, chop around, and continue lower. And then if we continue lower, I wanted the 1600 still on here. Sorry, let me redraw this. Resume this differently. Okay, the only way I can have 16. Well, let's see, does this do it? Just trying to get that price zone. There you go, 1600. Can that work? Okay, there we go. We got a bunch on here. Let's do this. I'm better with these, maybe. Okay. Now this would say, look, we got X marks the spot over here at 16. Is it 1660? Come on, why is it not letting it? That's not what I want to do. Okay, let's try this again. 16, 65, 27. I think that's a great place to be buying if we were to get down there. We could shop around down here, come into this uptrend, and then go, and then bounce. It's possible we could do that if we go down that far. By no means do we have to go down that far. Like I said, if we open around here, get a really wild candle here, do some trading up, roll back down, shop around, and then continue lower, shop around in here, continue lower, come into this zone, into this price zone here, and then we start to move our way back up. It's going to be choppy going back up then too. But doing something like this, maybe it reverses with a inverted head and shoulders, which at some point, that's what this looked like. We've done that before. Let's say we do something like that again. Could be faster, could be slower. This idea of that breakout and retest lower is like this, which means I'm looking at something that's fractal. If we do this, we could do this on a 4-hour chart, an hourly chart. We could do something like this in a couple days on 30-minute chart. It's entirely possible, but I would look for 1665 to be a place to be buying. It would be something that takes out these lows, just like this came in and took out some lows, kind of held some of these lows of this consolidation. I think the pre-market or after hours made it down this far. We just didn't see it on the daily. Or no, it was this one for earnings. I think earnings right in here. I think that's where we got down closer to 1665. So if we're to do that again, come down that far, we've had some really large candles in here, really large. I don't know that we're done having some really large candles. You can see very similarly the move we had on this retest, where we just kind of plummeted quickly. The last couple of weeks have been quicker. Sorry, let me get rid of this. What we did here compared to what we did here, this is a whole lot quicker that we got down that far. That says there's a lot of fear. It's not like, oh, I'll just sell up here. I'm taking profit. No, I'm getting out. Get me out now. People saying to brokers. And I'm saying this is giving us some opportunities to buy low in some support zone. If you want to buy, okay, buy like one share here, knowing you're going to leg in the next time it goes lower, buy some more here, goes lower, buy some more here. If it goes lower again, buy some more here. Look to be legging into this, and you don't have to leg in on the way down. You can pick a price and say, okay, I'll wait till here to buy. Or if it doesn't get down there, I'm going to buy here. And if it does get down here, I'm going to buy more than what I'll buy here. And then you can buy a little bit more here. And then you can buy a little more here. But the thing is, though, this is cost averaging down. This is cost averaging up when it's already going back up. You're buying. Why would you want to cost average down? So wait longer. Let's buy down here, or if we miss buying down here, we're buying here. So anyway, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Look for some bearishness, look for some selling right out the gate. Options are going to be incredibly spready. If we look at some puts, like next week's puts, 13 on the 13th, and we go out to like 1600. Okay, right now these puts are already at like 340. They closed at 340. in the market, in the morning, they'll probably be around 10 or 12. Just because of a gap down. Volatility is going to come in relatively quickly, but it will probably go from 12 up to like 18 and just hover around there. And then it'll drop back down to like 14, and people will get stopped out if they set stops. And then, then we'll see where it ends up going if we do continue lower. For going bullish, again, looking at 13, 2000 strike, this is going to be dropping significantly because we're going to open down, like I said. And so this could move from 516 where it closed down to like 2 on open. And actually, I mean, I don't think we're going to get back up to 2000, but could give you some opportunity to buy something really cheap and just look for it to move a little bit back up. But I don't even know if it'll get back up to 516. And I don't recommend that if you're already in. That would be cost averaging down, and you're kind of hoping that that's the way it's going to go. That's the way it's going to move. But let's wait for the chart to really show us. Wait for this kind of thing to start to play out, where you get an increase in volume here, and it starts chopping around a little bit more, and then look for that breakout. Because this one, what I was doing here, and I was down on 1 minute. Okay. Whoa. Okay. I was down on 1 minute, and I think, let's see. I was in somewhere in here bearish, and it was not working out. And then all of a sudden that happened. I was stopped out. I'm like, okay, flip, get going the other direction. And you had some time. Once this bullishness came in, you can see how much, you can see this volume coming in here, a little more volume in here than you had a little while earlier. This was people short covering, whatever. But the decent volume came in through here. And this is where I was getting out. I was out, I want to say it was the 251. Yeah, it was 251 candle. I did really good then, getting out here in my pivot zone. So I was in, I want to say it was 242. I think I was in bullish here and then out here. So I was in for like less than 10 minutes. I made 4 hour. But I mean, you have time when it consolidated, broke out, retested. I think you could have gotten in for the same price of 50 cents on the option, or $50, for 2 of them is $1. I think you could have gotten in here the same price as I got in here. So it really was less time than it moved up so nicely. But anyway, picture this on, picture these 1 minute candles as 15-minute candles. It's all fractal. So we'll see if we get some sort of consolidation, start to pop, newbies will get in, it rolls back down just to hold a low, gives you a nice inside candle, starts to break out, and you see where the volume's coming in. It really starts to get going. But it chews some people out of this here first. But we'll see if we can do something like this on a bigger time frame than the 1 minute, and get some retracement before we get a bigger rollover. But like I said, we're just gonna have to wait and see. On the 5 minute here, after hours we were starting to roll back down. So pre-market's going to be low. It's going to be crazy lower. So it won't even show up. I'll probably just have to take all these off because none of this is going to work for where we're going to get down into. So we'll just have to wait and see. Hope this helps. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.